Hey guys, this video is about Mexico. Yes, my favorite country, Mexico. I just wanted to discuss some points about that because, you know, I lived there for 6 months. I really enjoyed my life there. I've visited lots of cities. It was Mexico City, Queretaro, Puerto Vallarta, Tijuana, and some other places in between. I really enjoyed everything. Food, people, landscape itself was really nice as well. There are so many misinformation about Mexico, so many strange stuff said about that country. I just wanted to discuss it all. It's like questions and answers. I have all those questions and answers on my website and you can read those, but here is like a short version which I talk about in my video. Please go ahead and check out my website travelforever.com. I'm gonna talk all over those points here as well. So let's go ahead. First of all, do you need a visa to visit Mexico? Most likely you don't, but you need to check on the website. Mexico has a website where you can check all visa-free countries. And basically you either don't need a visa at all, you just go there and you receive FMM sticker, Forma Migraciona, something. It's like a form that allows you to stay in Mexico, and you need to always carry this form with you so you can show to the police, let's say, or somebody that who asks that for that form. And basically it indicates how many days you can stay in the country. Most likely it's gonna be 180 days, which is 6 months. So you're gonna be fine to stay there 6 months. And what's even more interesting is that you don't even need to leave for a specific amount of time once your days are expired. You can just come back, like let's say next day, and you again most likely gonna receive 6-month extension. I mean, there is no guarantee, and sometimes officer on the entry point into Mexico might say, hey, you're not really tourist, you're just living there, so you need to receive actual visa. I mean, it's kind of strange. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so it really all depends on your situation and intentions that you have in Mexico. But be sure that you receive FMM card, because if you don't, it will indicate that basically you are most likely staying in the country illegally, which is not good. And when you're gonna be asked about it, I don't know what's gonna happen. You probably need to pay a fine or something because of that. So better not to violate the rules, you know. And when you enter by car, you need to actually stop by and receive this FMM card if you intend to travel more than 30 miles out of the specific zone, I think. But those rules were changing back and forth though. But you just need to make sure that if you intend to have a trip in Mexico, you need to have FMM card, because without it you might likely gonna have some troubles. So you better not violate those rules. If you intend to stay in Mexico for a longer period of time, you need a visa. And for that, there are basically 2 types of visa. It's a resident visa, it's like permanent resident, residente permanente, permanent visa, and residente temporal, which is temporary visa, basically. And it all depends how to get those, but it's usually not hard. You just need to have specific amount of money earned each month in a year, and you're good to go. Most likely you just need that, you apply for visa and you get it. So it's not really a big deal. Let's go to other question: how to book apartments in Mexico? Well, it all depends on your length of stay, I would say. If you intend to stay in Mexico for, like, let's say 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, then economically it will be much more reasonable to find apartments through either internet. There are many Facebook groups that allow you to find apartments, or Airbnb. Airbnb is my preferred way to stay there because it basically gives you a great price, and you can also ask the host for the better price. If they show you like the price which is out of your range, you can always ask them. They can agree, they can disagree, and like, well, you can just try. I had a good luck just negotiating the prices, so you should try that. So the price is better. Second thing is that you don't really need any papers to fill out. So if you go somewhere and talk to the person and you actually gonna get apartment from that person, most likely you're gonna sign up some papers, provide that you are staying in Mexico legally, provide that you have a visa. You might even like need to provide your actual visa because you're like living there, you're not like a tourist. Sometimes those rules are not really enforced, but it's I mean, it's more complicated process if you want to get apartment with like a landlord. Airbnb is the easier way. Also, Airbnb provides a protection, and for example, if something doesn't work out, most likely Airbnb gonna refund you or find some other apartment or something like that. So my preferred way is Airbnb, but you might have a different luck, so you just try it. The most expensive thing is of course hotels. It's usually not cheap. I think it's like $50 a night, most likely what you're gonna get, not cheaper than that. And if you summarize it like 30 days in a month, you get not super cheap price on your place to stay, right? So that's why you need to find different routes. You can also try hostels, you can try roommates. There are always some options, so you're not necessarily in trouble if you don't have a resident visa in Mexico. You can just stay there for a pretty long time. Just please don't violate the rules, and please stay only allowed amount of time in Mexico, because this country is so open to tourists and people. That's why we need to also make sure that we give something in return. We need to be good people, right? So let's not violate those rules and do everything by book. Another question, is it safe in Mexico? Well, it is and it is not, so it depends. You need to be always keep in mind that something might go wrong, something, you know, like in some places something might go wrong, but it's true everywhere, right? Even in United States, like say something in some cities might not go as planned, something might not go well. And does it mean that this country is unsafe? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you need to be aware of situation, aware of the street, aware of where you are, just stuff like that. Don't flash your money around, don't have a lot of valuables with you. Just make sure that you like behave in this manner that people do not notice that you are like, well, like some rich guy or something. Just make sure about that. That's all. Most likely it's gonna be fine. And check the neighborhood that where you're going before you're going. So like in Mexico City, there are places where you should not go at night, and you should not go to these areas. If you're in a center, in a nice area, and like during the day, I mean 99.9% that is gonna be all fine. And during my 6 months stay in Mexico, I never had troubles. I took the buses, I took Ubers, I did like wherever. I walked a lot, even at night in the center. No problems at all. I sometimes felt much more in trouble somewhere like in San Francisco, where like lots of crazy people in the street. But in Mexico I felt fine, no troubles at all. So as I said, it's safe and it's unsafe if you're looking for troubles probably. So just make sure that you stay out of the trouble and it'll be fine. So the other question is like, if I'm planning to move, is Mexico really affordable and cheap? Yes, I think it is. I think it actually is compared to United States. It's much cheaper, much more affordable. You can have much more for your money. That's what I'm gonna say. Especially if like you're retired, you just go there, you spend your money. I mean, you can have a lunch for $4 or $5. You can have apartment for like $300 a month. Healthcare is super cheap. It's no problem at all. You can live like $1,000 per month easily, even less maybe than that, because most of the people in Mexico, that's from where I heard from. I'm not sure exactly, but I think they earn less than 1,000. So yeah, well, but it's affordable. Yes, it is. Of course, it depends on the area. If you go to like, let's say Puerto Vallarta in the some district where like a lot of tourists are there and it's very Americanized, then yeah, things not gonna be cheap. Not gonna be cheap. Another question is that, do I need to know Spanish if I want to live in Mexico? I think yes. I definitely think yes, you need to speak at least some level of Spanish, at least so people understand you, that what you're trying to say, like to order something in a restaurant, to pay your bills, to go just ask directions, to just talk a little bit. And I think it's good practice to learn a language before you go to some other country, because it's just like shows that like you're a person who cares about that nation, about the culture. It just shows like you're not like typical person who like just travels and don't care about that things. They just like travel and leave. No, I mean, in that case, probably you're not gonna have like best treatment in Mexico if you behave like that. If you try to speak English everywhere, some people might look at you like, oh, this guy is like typical gringo. I mean, what is he doing here? He doesn't belong here. What is he doing there? That's why. Yeah, some Spanish doesn't hurt. You don't need to speak super fluently, no, but at least initially it's better to have some Spanish. Other question is, what are the best ways to travel Mexico? Well, Mexico has amazing bus system. If you want to travel from town to town, especially like big towns, then definitely take the buses. Buses are amazing. It's very comfortable, cheap, prices are very affordable. You can travel, like, I don't know, I took the bus, 10 hours bus from Mexico City to Puerto Vallarta. And it was great, you know, amazing. They had entertainment system on the buses. You can watch movies, you can play some music, you can charge your electronic devices. I think many of them even have Wi-Fi. Also, before entering the bus, they give you food and drinks. Like, not a lot of food, drinks obviously, but like some croissant and let's say like bottle of water. But it's even that, it shows like, yeah, it's like very good service, a really nice service. All the bus drivers are usually dressed well. So it's very nice, comfortable ride, and they have lots of companies that do all this service. Some of the companies even do cross-country service. So you, for example, you can go from Mexico City to Texas, for example, or you can go from somewhere from Baja California to, or actually I'm not sure about that. No, I'm not sure of Baja California. Baja California is like very much reliable on the car, so you need to have a car to travel this. But anyway, from many cities in Mexico, you can go to US by bus. Of course, they're gonna stop at the border. You need to actually pass the customs, and then you're gonna board the bus again, and then you go proceed. But still, there is a way to even go cross countries in a bus, which is cool. Flights are cheap. Sometimes it makes sense to go, let's say, to Tijuana airport and take the flight from there to some other Mexican town, or maybe somewhere outside of Mexico even, because it's cheaper. It's good, and you can rent a car as well. Car rental is a different thing because you need insurance and all that, and probably I would not say that it's the best way to travel Mexico, but I think it might be, especially if you take your car and just drive your car. Maybe even car travel is fine. Hey, I don't know. So I didn't try that. I just prefer the bus routes. Yes, so there are bus companies as well. There are cheap bus companies which runs between cities, but those cheap bus companies usually like government sponsored or something, and that's why the quality standards will be much lower, but it's gonna be cheap, like, I don't know, $2 to get to other town or something like that. Yes, there are many ways to travel Mexico, and you just need to select the one that you like the most. Anyway, guys, Mexico is a beautiful, interesting and amazing country, and that's why I definitely recommend you to visit it. And be sure, most likely everything's gonna be fine. Just be aware of your surroundings, just be aware of the situation. Don't flash your stuff. Everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna spend much less there than comparing to, let's say, Hawaii. Like, Hawaii is, I don't know, it feels like a robbery, and the climate is, Mexican climate is amazing. Like Cancun, for example, I mean, this is great. Anyway, guys, that's what were my main points about it. I just wanted to answer the most common question that people ask me about Mexico. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, press the like button, and goodbye. See you soon.